Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're back here in Way Mountain Temple. It's nice to see all of you. I'm so touched. Okay. Okay, control yourself. All right. I'm so at a loss of words right now. Okay, let's continue with Master YongHua's Chanchi instructions. We're in the midst of his explaining how the Christian God, the Catholic God, became himself or herself. Okay, let's continue, please.
我们一找就找了32个这个人，这32个。
In this way, she found 32 such people.
有的不是很贫的，有的那么是做工的，有的又是给人看小孩子的。
These 32 people, some were not very poor, some were laborers, and some were babysitters.
All right, so she brought forth the resolve to fix a dilapidated temple, a small temple, on the roof fell off and the statues of the Buddha was exposed. So she said, we can't have this. So she went around and tried to collect money from people. She, being a poor and old beggar, she didn't have much money, but she is able to rally 32 people, different backgrounds. They're not necessarily beggars like herself, but not rich either. Continue.
32个都是女，总而言之，多数是做工的。32。
All 32 were women. In summary, most of them were laborers, all 32.
Okay, so low-level people in the stratum of society.
我们连他33个。
So, including her, that makes 33.
So 33 people altogether.
那么大家凑了一些个钱，就把这个庙给修好，把这个佛像呢也又贴上金呢，造。
So everyone pooled some money and repaired the temple, and the Buddha statue was again painted in gold, completing the renovation.
Kind of interesting that they were able to pool so much money amongst poor people to repair and to paint the statue over.
那么就因为造这个庙的功德，他们32个人，每一个人是一份，就每一个人是一股，他们。
Due to the merit of building this temple, those 32 people, each person had a share. Each person had a stake. Just like that.
Okay.
那么，河谷有限公司那么做了这个功德。
It was like a joint stock company. And thus they accomplished this merit and virtue.
Continue.
How can this be a meritorious deed? This inconceivable matter.
33个人 前后都没过1个月就死了，死了就。
After that, those 33 people, within less than a month, all died. After they died,
这个做第一个的女人呢，开始叫大家来造庙啊，修佛像，这个是做了天主，就做了到了一天的天主。
the woman who initiated the construction of the temple and the repair of the Buddha statue, she became God, the God of Triastrimsa heaven.
Okay, so you see, the lesson to be learned here, the point here, is that these people, although they were poor, they created an incredible meritorious deed in repairing a temple. And even though their contribution was not as big in absolute terms, but their hearts were huge in terms of their personal sacrifices in helping restore the temples. So the lesson here we're learning is twofold. Number one, restoring, building temples is extremely meritorious. And as a result, these people got their own rewards. And number two, it's not only about the size of the absolute amount of donations. It's about the sacrifices. This is not well explained enough. It's the sacrifices, personal sacrifices they each made. So because they made a lot of big sacrifices to repair the temple, they got incredible blessings. And because of their inconceivable blessings, it's so humongous that they immediately died. And therefore, as a result, the entire family members renounced Buddhism and felt that they died because of Buddhism, their faith in Buddhism. Okay? Yeah? And this is what stupid people would have as reactions. It turns out, and this is a commonplace, people think that death is a bad thing or is a bad happening. Actually, in this case here, because there are tremendous blessings that were actually matured immediately, when you do a meritorious deed, you create blessings. But those are seeds of blessings for yourselves. And also, you also need to have those seeds mature before you can benefit from these blessings. It's a two-step dance, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. And so they made tremendous sacrifices, and this is a key, folks. They chose a very, very incredible, inconceivable task of building or fixing temples, and that, regardless of how you look at it, creates tremendous merit and virtues. Okay, this is why, for example, the predecessor of Master YongHua, great Master Xu, that's all he did. He repaired temples. He's known after he's dead that he's known more to have repaired like countless temples around China. Okay, and you look at that and you say, wow, this patriarch is so smart. Okay, he wasn't good at teaching disciples. He weren't good at doing much, but he repaired temples. He went around to temples and stayed in horse stables instead of building a nice building for himself. No, he said clean the horse stables and shove out horse manures. Okay, and stayed in the horse stables while they repair the various temples. Okay, and so you see, the point here again is that these people created a humongous deed in erecting temples. But then they also, in that process, made humongous personal sacrifices. And as a result, their blessings were matured immediately. And therefore, they can no longer continue to suffer in their bodies as humans. Humans is, in our era, it's more suffering in our daily lives than fun. Let's face it, look at ourselves. 8 hours a day, maybe 12 for some people, okay? And it's all suffering. 8 hours a day at work, 10 hours a day at work, you're a professional, and it's a lot more suffering than fun at work, you see? And go home, and you're so tired, and then you need to prepare for the next day's work, because otherwise you cannot perform and deliver. So typically for us, our daily lives is a lot of suffering. So that's why these people were no longer allowed to suffer because of their blessings. And therefore, they had to die immediately. And to end all their worldly sufferings, and would be born into the heavens. And the gang leader became the Christian God. She became from a woman body into a man's body. I recently learned there's a huge difference between a woman's body and men's body. I didn't understand it until recently, that woman's female body is more prone, has more illnesses than men. No? Yeah. We are much more simpler made. Just muscles and bones. Okay, so not much can go wrong. Okay, and women, there's too many moving parts. Especially up here. Okay, so you see, so even she became a man. Okay? Praise the Lord. Continue.
我们现在所看见的四王天，那么四王天上边呢是倒立天。
So what we now see is the heaven of the four kings, and above the heaven of the four kings, there is the Triastrimsa heaven.
Yep. So what it is the structure of our cosmos. And the Buddha's vision is so clear, so beautiful. He says, where we are right now, okay, let me tell you, boys and girls, we are human realm. And above us, okay, about 22,000 yojanas up, okay, is the heaven of the four heavenly kings. Each heaven is in 4 cardinal directions, east, west, north, south, okay? And they actually are called guardians of the world. They watch over us, by the way. What is their function? They rule over the ghosts and spirits. They command. Each one of them commands 2 different types of ghosts. Okay, so that's how our world is kept in check, because these heavenly kings actually command the ghost kings. Okay, and then above them is the Triastrimsa, meaning the heaven of 33, where in the center is that female god. Okay, formerly old beggar woman, okay, and then her 32 cohorts who help restore one temple. Imagine the kind of hardship and sacrifice they each had to make just to restore the temple. And because their sacrifice was so great, okay, they immediately were reborn, very quickly were reborn into the heavenly realms. All right? Continue.
刀立天呢，梵语是刀立，古人叫33。
This Triastrimsa heaven is called 33 in Sanskrit.
就是33天的天主，就是那个楞严咒上那个南无印陀拉呀。
The poor woman is the god of the 33 heaven. That is, the one line in the Shurangama mantra that goes, Namo Yinto Laye.
Yep, and that's the one line. I think line 28 of the Shurangama mantra. Namo Yinto Laye. This is I take refuge with the gods of the Triastimsha. Okay, and therefore you see this God here, the Christian God, is a recognized authority in our world. So he's a very important dude. So it's kind of fascinating that we're learning so much about these things that worldly people have no clues. And this is the kinds of wisdom that the Buddhists have that helps us have a better idea of what's important, what's not important. Continue.
又叫实体还阴，在《弥陀经》上叫实体还阴。
He is also called Sakra Devanam Indra in the Amitabha Sutra.
Often referenced by the various Buddhist scriptures, in the various Buddhist scriptures, because he's a big shot. He is the authority in our world. He rules over, he pays close attention to us and helps keep things in check. Help us, encourage us, do things to encourage us to behave ourselves and do good things. He's a good guy. And that's why we should give him his due respect and recognize his importance in our world.
在楞严咒上叫因陀拉王，那么一般人所知的是天主。
In the Shurangama mantra, he is called King Indra, which is commonly known to people as heaven, the Lord of heaven.
Okay, to give you an anecdote. When I was a novice, I went to Taiwan to try to learn Chinese and precepts on my own when I left my master's association. And so I went there, and I was fully ordained by my Vietnamese master, and I went to Taiwan, and on my own so it was the first experience as being outside of a real temple. But the Taiwanese are very, very generous. They're very supportive of the Sangha. This is the great benefit of Taiwan in terms of being very supportive of Buddhism in general. Okay? And I went there, and I don't know why I thought of this anecdote, but I forgot as I started talking about it. I apologize. Let me come back to it when it comes back. Okay, let's continue.
成这么样子。他做了33天的天主，其余的这个32个女人呢，就做了32天的这个天王。
Thus, in this way, she became the ruler of the 33 heavens, and the remaining 32 women became rulers of their respective heavens.
Okay, the structure of the heavens of 33 again is the center, and the top is Indra, the palace of Indra, and below him, there are 32 different palaces that belong to the remaining 32 other heaven rulers as well. Okay, so that's their structure. I remember the story now. Okay, and so I went to Taiwan and I met this Vietnamese monk who had a PhD from Taiwan University, and he was teaching Buddhism at a Taiwanese university. So he has the credentials, and he's tried to recruit me. He said, so I'm worth, at the time, $22 million. I have my assets, and I'm looking for a successor. I said, why look at me? Yeah, so anyway, he's trying to recruit me, wine and dine me, and so forth and so forth. He revealed a lot of his secrets to me. And he said, this is how I built my empire, my assets. And so he taught at Shifan, right? What is that? How would you translate that? It's the second biggest university in Taipei. Taida is known for engineering. Shifan is the second important university that specializes in liberal arts and languages.
It's for teachers.
For teachers.
Training
Shifan.
teachers. Yeah.
Okay, so they train teachers. And so he was making he was paid back then $3,000 every month as on his professor's salary. Okay, and he said, my income is very, very steady. He's dead, by the way, already. But my real contribution is I help heal people. I said, how? Okay, because I came from a Chinese master who would heal you by tapping you on the head and by hitting you on your shoulder. Okay, and so she said, yeah, it's my secret. That is because I discovered this because people would come to me and ask me to heal them. I know some of you are interested in learning about healing because it's a cool thing to do. Plus, you can make money of it. And this is how he got his support. He said, people come to him. And for example, he said, this doctor here, his dad has an incurable illness. So he came to me and said, please help save my dad. So I told him to the doctor, I said, I can help your dad, but your dad needs to create blessings. Therefore, what I'd like you to do is that if I can save your dad, then you should, I need to do translation of the Tripitaka from Chinese into Vietnamese. So for that, I'm incurring these expenses every month that I run a temple in Vietnam, and I brought these monks and nuns in. I pay them so much per page to translate. So I have expenses, and you can help create blessings for your dad if I help him. Is that agreeable? So they agree. So lo and behold, miraculously, the dad is healed. Okay? And so the doctor is very grateful with the initial contribution he made to him. I don't know, $20,000 or something like that, okay, as the agreement to help him translate Tripitaka. And the doctor is so grateful. He contributed $2,000 more every single month, monthly, to show his gratitude for the master saving his dad. And so I said, so what did you do to heal his dad? He says, very simple. Did you know, in my prior life, I was, in many, many lifetimes, I was a very high level Sankan. Okay? And therefore I'm pretty well known in our world. Maybe not to you, but pretty well known in the Buddhist spiritual world. And so when I wanted to help heal someone, I would call the heavenly kings, one of the heavenly kings. I don't think he knows which one, okay? But I would talk to one of the 4 heavenly kings. You remember? The first desire heaven is the 4 heavenly kings. Next one is Tridastrimsha, okay? So the first one there, 24,000, 21,000, 22,000 yojanas, 21,000 yojanas up there in the air. And so he said, I would call this heavenly king. He has 6.
Oh, thank you, Master. Zihong Sao has a comment. She says, these 4 heavenly kings, are there statues on display in the Chinese temples?
Precisely, in Chinese temple.
And says one holds a sword, another holds a tower,
yes,
an umbrella, and a musical instrument.
Yes, a guitar, Chinese guitar.
Okay, thank you, Master.
Okay, and yes, those are called the 4 heavenly kings, and they guard the entrances to the temples. You see, and they're pretty big shots, and yet they simply are Dharma protectors on the outside. They cannot come to the Buddha hall. You're not impressed. They're too low level. They have to stand up out there. They can't come in here like you. They can't sit down. They have to stand out there. You see, all the statues of the 4 heavenly kings, as represented as images in Buddhist temples, they all are standing. They're not allowed to sit in our presence, to show it is a reflection of their status and their deference to us. They are not allowed to sit down. Very much like foot soldiers are not allowed to sit down. Remember the royal guard at Buckingham Palace? And so, exactly. And so he would call this heavenly king, okay, the northern heavenly king, which is leader of them. I'm adding the details for you. So he told me I have this heavenly king. I talked to him. And remember I taught you, each heavenly king is in charge of 2 different ghosts. And the ghosts there are the troublemakers that are behind the illnesses. When you guys heal people, when you're the outside externalist path, heal people by combating and beating them, okay? What this Vietnamese master did is he called the heavenly king who rules over the kings of those ghosts. And he says, I need you to back off on this case here. And so heavenly king would transmit the request to the ghost king, who is in charge of that illness, that cancer, and his underlings back off. And that's how he healed people. Isn't that cool? Now you know the secret. You don't need to come to the temple anymore. You can make a lot of money. Huh? You can branch out and have your own temples. I'm not holding back. I'm sharing with you all the secrets of the universe. Huh? Isn't that cool? Go out and say, hey, Heavenly King, help me. That's what he did. So he healed people after people after people. There's no need to massage them. he just said, hey. And that's it. So he was healing people left and right. That's how, even though as a Vietnamese monk, he got so much Taiwanese support. All that money is from Taiwanese people who said, wow, I experienced miracle. The Taiwanese, unlike you, Mexicans and so forth, they are grateful. When you help save their mother, their father, they go crazy. I said, I want to show you more my gratitude. Okay? My dad's life is worth more than 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, million. Okay? Okay? And so, is there another comment? Now everyone's interested. Look at that.
Yes,
You're so excited. I've never seen people's eyes so lit up right now. In America, let me tell you, I look at these people, they're all shining.
It's true.
They found their ways. It's nice knowing you, folks. Best of luck to all of you.
We have a couple of questions, one related to this topic and one kind of a secondary. Samson Lau says, hi, Master, but why did this heavenly king listen to this monk?
Because that's how he made offerings to this high-level Sangha. Okay? Remember that monk there has been a high-level Sangha for many, 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 many lifetimes. So it's the Heavenly King's job to protect his temples. I'm pretty sure he had a lot of affinities with him. And that's why he didn't explain it. They don't have to explain these things. But basically, Heavenly King says, I owe you. I will support you. And the leader of the four Heavenly Kings, okay, meaning he has influence over all the troublemakers in our world. Okay? So that's why when he intervenes, they back off. All right, second question. Oh, I'm telling you so many state secrets. Oh my God, we should start charging, huh? Subscribing, huh? Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
No, wait. Give him a chance to ask for a subscription.
Thank you for the segue, Master. For those of you watching along at home, all of these state secrets being revealed to you may be appreciated, and if so, in return, we appreciate you liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell for notifications for the next live stream. Also in the future, look out for super thanks, soon to be enabled in the year of the dragon.
Okay. Super thanks. How do we go? How low do we go with super thanks? 10 cents? They add up,
For those of you who watched yesterday evening, we know there is no small and there is no great. So all super thanks are appreciated.
Super thanks. Yes, second question. Interesting. You guys bring the the worst out of me.
Okay.
Something about Wei Mountain Temple that I'm like unleashed.
Okay, here we go. Cordelia asks and says, Amitofuo Master, in the 42 section sutra, Master mentioned about a tree in Taiwan that one can eat and it will help with liver disease. May I get the name of this tree or plant?
I don't know what it is, but I will ask the Taiwanese people to show. It's grown all over Taiwan. It's a native tree. It looks like the things we use for the Vietnamese sweet and sour soup. That that kind of hollow things. I forgot. I'm sorry. Remind me. Let me look it up, the names for you. Okay? All right? That's it? Okay. Thank you. Yes, in the back.
Master, is that Baka?
Probably baka, yeah. It's like a porous thing, right? And you cut it in. Yeah, it's like you peel off the outside skin. That's a very similar to thing. But I'm not sure it's the same thing. But I'm no cook, that's why I couldn't tell. But it's unlike this thing here is kind of slimy. Baka is not as slimy as this one. Okay, it's everywhere. It's grown everywhere. You find it everywhere in Taiwan. It's fantastic. Anyway, and so that's how he healed people, and that's why he had this reputation. He's very selective. He says, "I will help you in return because one hand washes the other. I help you. Like, will you help me do the Dharma propagation?" So that's the arrangement. Okay, it's guaranteed. He says, if I help you, okay, then you're supposed to give me this donation. If I cannot help you, then you don't have to give me any money. Okay, and that's how he built a lot of his house. That's how he got the money to buy a lot of properties. Okay. And so you see how impressive it was. And I thought, pretty good. And then he was so proud. And so he was whining and dining me, bring me around and show me this nice restaurant and how people revered him. And everywhere he went, there's always people rolling on the red carpet for him. And I was so impressed. And I said, wow, this is the end of my poverty forever. I was thinking, he's 63, I only have to wait 10 years. I'm calculating, very calculating. I said, wow, 10 years go by very fast. And look at all my management skills I could use, and this is a piece of cake for me. And no more hard work, And I could do anything I wanted. I could go to take classes leisurely, or do whatever. Yeah, drive a red car. And so I was so impressed until he said, so in return he asked me, what do you do? I said, I go to school, okay? I trying to learn Chinese and learn the precepts. He said, yeah, that's very good. What else you do? I said, then every day I practice the 4 2 hands and eyes from my Chinese master. He said, did you know that 4 2 hands and eyes are not are deviant? I said, really? I didn't know. I lost interest in him immediately. Because $22 million is nothing compared to the blessings you generate from practicing 4 2 hands and eyes, folks. So I know that that's nothing. Lost interest, just like that. I looked out because later, after I came back, and like 10 years later, I found out that half his face was frozen. And then like a few years later, he died. Like, was it not like 10 years, like 5 years later? So he had I believe it's a mini stroke or something, a small stroke. So you lose half of your body. Now in his case, half the face is frozen. So it's kind of weird. Can you imagine him speaking Dharma, teaching, and then you can't, half your face is, so you look like weird. And that's what I'm sharing with you. Before you go into the healing business, I don't recommend it, because if what happened to him is that even though he has the virtues and he has the support of the heavenly kings to do his work, okay, that's fine. But ultimately, when you help someone heal them of their illnesses, the illnesses go to you. They don't just disappear. You help people, it goes to your body. That's why you become sick yourself. Okay? And so those illnesses he helped eventually caught up with him. So at first, the first warning is that half the face is frozen. He should have stopped. He didn't stop. Okay? And that's why he died very early. That's why I don't recommend you guys go into the healing business. It's very, very dangerous. You can't handle it. You do minor things, it's okay. When you go into, cancer and that kind of thing, you're going to die. Okay? Are you willing to die for $10 million? You should look at Alex's face. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do have a price, a little bit higher than $10 million. Okay? So that's the story behind the 4 heavenly kings. They really rule over the ghosts, okay, that are behind your illnesses. Isn't that cool? Big picture, folks. Don't get caught up in smaller things and die for so little. Yes, 6.
Master, I thought the demon king I know that he's in charge of our world, but isn't he more closer to like a ghost, like ghost kings?
No, it turns out there are illnesses that he could not help, because you could help with the smaller things. It's a lot more going on than you guys realize. But the real heavy-duty things, like the incurable cancers and so forth, are way higher up. It's not the ghosts anymore. It's demons behind them. So what happened is that first, the brain power, the real powers, is the heavenly demons. Okay? And then they transmit the order down to the ghosts under the order of the 4 heavenly kings. So they can influence them up to a certain point, but when they go up against the heavenly demon king, the heavenly king can no longer intervene. It's a lot more complicated than you think. See, this is what you do for 2 hands and eyes. You don't do that. Got that? For smaller things, yeah, it's easy. But when there are things that he cannot help. But he made a mistake of allowing them to accrue in his body. And that's why it caught up with him. and he died too young, And my regret, let me tell you, can I tell you my biggest regret in life is I should have followed him. Because let me tell you, it's $20 million. Okay? This is like 30 years ago, folks. Okay? Taiwan is much more expensive now in spite of a Chinese threat. It's very expensive. Okay? It's worth a lot more money. And then, it's not that it. And then his uncle is a big Vietnamese high-level Sangha in France who has like 50 temples in France. So after I came back to the US, I heard that monk died, okay? And because he's a nephew, he inherited all those temples. All of a sudden, his fortune multiplied several-fold. I could have just driving around in a Veyron. No longer a red car, man. Veyrons are for your information, for you peasants. A few million bucks. And I missed that. Shucks. And could you imagine? Even, we don't forget about Chanchi. This is slow, too slow. I will bring you to Taiwan, have a Taiwanese feast. Huh? Taiwanese food is excellent. Okay? And then we go to France, huh? and go to 50 different locations. Sample French food. How is that for Chanchi? Oh my God. Opportunities missed that I regret. Okay, continue, please. Since we missed the boat, that's become enlightened, hey?
所以东有8天，南有8天，西有8天，北有8天，是4、8、32天。
Therefore, there are 8 heavens in the east, 8 heavens in the south, 8 heavens in the west, and 8 heavens in the north, making up the 32 heavens.
加上一个倒立天，这叫33天。
Together with one more heaven, the Triastrimsa heaven, they are called the 33 heavens.
这33个穷女人，原来呀都很困苦艰难，甚至于连饭都没有吃，没有得吃。
These 33 poor women were originally in great distress and hardship, to the extent that they didn't even have food to eat, having nothing to eat.
然后他们发心来造庙，他们都做天子。
And then they made the resolve to build the temple, and they all became gods.
You see, folks, this is what Master YongHua did not explain to you. I clarified it for you. It's not clear when you listen to the way he explained things that they have tremendous blessings, but it's their personal sacrifices. Can you see that? They're very poor, and they forsook the food and their whatever they had. They gave it all to help the temple. They were so devoted to their work. And they took a lot of personal sacrifices. Don't think that, this happens casually, so easy, you lucked out. No, it's not simply luck alone. It's also personal sacrifices, folks. It's an act of virtue, merit and virtue. See, that's a Buddhist concept. Things don't happen haphazardly. There's a reason behind it. It's called merit and virtue. Merit meaning that you need to give something that makes a difference. Yeah? You build a temple, it's very meritorious. Okay? Tremendously meritorious. And take it from Patriarch Xu Yu. That's what he did. He's very smart. He said, I know, and I'm teaching people, big deal, but I build temples. Okay? A patriarch building temples only. And he did something, he built it by making personal sacrifices. His temples were not as nice looking as the other temples. And he wasn't living in luxury, okay, at all. So during the remodeling of the temple, construction of temples, he suffered with them. So these women here, it's even worse for them. They actually had not much to eat at the first place. And they sacrificed that, okay, and sacrifice going around, beg for food, okay, and help around the temple. Just be clear that among them, they were all poor. They didn't have much money, so they had to stop begging and help. See that? So that's virtue. Virtue, let me explain to you. The Chinese, the way they don't explain it to you clearly. Virtue here, especially for us here, is to make great sacrifices. The more sacrifices you make, the greater your virtue. That's the proof right here. These women, they sacrificed everything they had. That's the lesson. Is that clear? It's not luck alone. All right, continue.
咱们现在到这个道场，我们千万不要像这几个无知识的老太婆呀、无知识的穷女人呢，去升天去。
Now, as we build this temple, we must absolutely not end up like those ignorant old ladies or ignorant poor women ascending to heaven.
咱们要发愿成佛，所以咱们到这个道场的时候是要成佛的。
We should make vows to become Buddhas. Therefore, when we build this temple, it is with the aspiration to attain Buddhahood.
Very important point here. He says these people, because they're poor, they're suffering so much. And he said, wow, I wish we should put an end to the suffering. It would be so great. So they had a lot of merit. They have a lot of virtue. But, number 3, wrong aspirations. When you have a lot of merit, you have a lot of virtue, you can apply them towards your aspirations. Is that clear? So because they were not taught properly, okay, no one taught them. They had no good advisor or advise them who taught them, when you do these meritorious deeds, you're creating a lot of blessings. You're making sacrifices that multiply your blessings even more, okay? And only just multiply your blessings, but also activate those blessings much faster than otherwise. Is that clear? The seeds are there, but you need to activate them, water it, fertilize it, and so forth. Yes, weed it and so forth, okay? That's activation of your blessings. All right? So that's virtue right there. Virtuous conduct is an activator, is a catalyst if you're a chemist. Yeah? All right? But that's not enough. There's one more thing. Big picture. Where are you going? Why are you activating these blessings? If you activate the blessings, you become a god, okay, that's only temporary, okay? It will not last. Like buying a red car, yeah, it costs a lot. As soon as you drive it off, you lose $30,000, $40,000 when you drive off the dealer's lot. So you lose the value of a car immediately. Okay? You see, all these worldly things, they depreciate very fast. Whereas Master YongHua taught them there that they said, instead of trying to activate those blessings for worldly things, you should go for the big kahunas. Okay? Vow to become enlightened. Okay? Think big, folks. Don't think so small. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. We have another question from Cordelia. Emitofuo, Master, these 4 heavenly kings and wheel-turning monarch, they have blessings, but do they have rebirth blessings, or are they a manifestation of a Mahasattva?
Depends who they are. Each individual is different. As we go in, maybe we find out more when we dig deeper into the first chapter. Maybe now we are into the 5th desire heavens level. Okay, and we go down to lower levels and we find out eventually whether the 4 heavenly kings, some of them might be Mahasattvas too. I would not be surprised. Okay, like Mahasattvas would come to our world and be a beggar and so forth. Yeah, it's commonplace. That would not surprise me at all. All right, did I answer the question? Okay. Continuez.
我们造的一个道场，就要成千千万万的。
By building this temple, we aim to help and realize many, many Buddhas.
所以俺们现在帮着造庙的人、出钱的人、出力的人都成佛。
Those who currently help build the temple, those who donate money, and those who exert effort, all shall attain Buddhahood.
You see, it's so important to have the big picture. This is, unless you have a big picture, you apply the good things that come your way in the wrong efforts. You know, it's so nice to seek fame and profit and so forth, but they don't last. They then will not make you happy. Look, how are they really happy? Those rich and famous people? I look at them. I see them unhappy. Ask. What's her name again? Taylor. Is she happy? Does she have a fight with her boyfriend? I bet you she has. Okay? He says, you're not spending enough time with me. And during the football season, you ignore me. Yes, 6. Only hand holding.
She has to continue to fight with her boyfriend so she could write more songs.
Absolutely, you're right. They're inspired by suffering. The songs are more meaningful when the artists suffer. When they're happy, they don't write songs. Let's face it. Her great songs are from the breakups, right? So after this breakup, maybe we'll have another song soon. Thank you. You see that? Big picture, folks. That's called wisdom. Unless you have the big picture, you apply your efforts the wrong way and you're shooting for the wrong end results. Be careful. This is why there's a difference between Buddhism and the other stuff, because whatever you see here, whatever you can achieve is so small, too small right now. You should not be terribly impressed by it. Like you levitate or you heal someone. That's very small thing. Insignificant compared to becoming enlightened, compared to your practice of the 42 hands and eyes. It's incredible things that you're doing for yourself. See? All right? Big picture. That's tonight's theme. Okay? Think big. Think bigger. That's wisdom. Big ambitions. Not go for the small things. DTT.
네, 마스터. 안녕하세요. 다음 주 되면은 이제 선칠이 한 2주 정도 남는데 좀 더 열심히 해보고 싶어서 단식을 또 시작을 했으면 하거든요. 사실 마스터한테 말씀 안 드리고 비밀로 하고 싶었는데 마스터지께서 한번 물어보라고 하셔가지고 여쭤봅니다.
Hello, Master. Next week or 2 weeks later, our chanchi is gonna end. And actually, I want to apply more efforts, so I'm trying to do one more fasting. And actually, I was trying to make it a secret to you, Master. Master Z recommended me to ask you, so I'm asking.
Okay, do some more, suffer some more. That's a good idea. Okay, go for it. Okay? And so let me also explain to you the vision of Master YongHua or the patriarchs. They all understand, the Chinese patriarchs. They understand that they give you the big picture. You should go for the big shebang. Don't think small. Okay? But there's realities of life where you need to take care of your daily needs. You need to shower, you need to eat, you need to go to the, hairdo, fingernails in California. Okay? Daily necessities. And that's why the Sangha system is beautiful. So in exchange for you not worrying about your daily necessities anymore, you can now devote all your efforts, 100% of your efforts into becoming a Buddha. And that's why the genius of the Sangha system devised by the Buddha. You don't have to worry about making ends meet anymore. The temple provides for you so that you go after the big kahunas. Okay? So that's why it's much harder for lay people to achieve that, because you always are, have to strike a balance between your family obligation, your personal, taking care of yourself versus going to the temple on the weekends only and so forth, sitting 1 hour only per day, whereas these people, that's all they do. Okay? All right. Continue, please.
在这个道场修道的人也要成佛，就是我们不要种这个升天的因。
In the future, those who cultivate at this way place will also attain Buddhahood. That is, we must not plant the causes for ascending to heaven.
See? Big picture. Master YongHua says, don't be Don't be impressed by the glamour and the glitz of the heavens. Okay? That's nothing for a person or your stature. You know, all these heavenly beings, when they see the Sanghas, they're supposed to bow to them. You know that? I told you, the 4 heavenly kings, Vicky, and I will not say anything important until you come back. Come back and I say something important now. Thank you for closing the door. and these 4 heavenly kings, remember? I just told you earlier, even though they're so powerful, they command the ghosts and they're so happy and everything, okay? They can only, in terms of stature, stand outside the temple, in front of the temple, to serve us, lowly monks. Think about it. Every single temple, that's all they are allowed to do. Big picture, folks. Don't think small. Okay? Now Alex will say, okay, my price is doubled. 20 million now. Yes, too.
Emitofuo, Master. When I listen to what you're saying, there's a part of me that hears, like, don't be God because Buddha is more powerful. Buddha is more expansive. That you'll get bowed to. And I feel like that's not the proper motivation, right? So what is the proper motivation towards aiming towards Buddhahood?
Big picture. Much bigger, much better things. If they stand there and they have all these happy things happen to them, we sit here, we have much better things happening to us. Much bigger. It's only because you didn't know, that's why you were impressed by the glitz and the glamour. Okay? DTT.
왔어. 질문이 있는데 좀 전에 선화상이께서 공덕을 천상에 태어나는 걸로 낭비하지 마라라고 저는 이해했는데 그 이유가 혹시 복이 지금 현재 공덕이 있어서 하늘의 천주가 되었어도 복이 떨어지면 다시 떨어지기가 다시 말하면 천주가 현재 됐어도 복이 떨어지면 떨어지기 때문에 그 복에는 한계가 있는 것이기 때문에 복을 낭비한 것인가를 질문드린 것입니다.
So I have a question, Master. So here Master YongHua says, don't waste your merit and virtue to being born at the heaven. Is it because they do have a merit and virtue to be a heavenly king, but when they spend all their blessings, then they could fall to a lower realm? Is it because of that?
그러니까 제 질문은 그 천주가 되었어도 그 복에는 유한한 복인가 그거를 여쭤보는
So
것입니다.
even though they become a heavenly king, they still their blessings are limited, and they would eventually spend those blessings.
Yeah, it's just like when you buy your XM3. Okay? It costs $105,000 here in the US, all fully loaded. In Korea, probably $123,000. It's about 20,000, 20%, duty, extra duty to slap on, luxury taxes. And so that money is gone. You cannot recover it. Your car, it materializes in the form of a car, and the car stops working when it's cold. And when you try to drive from your house to JMT. You see that? So that money is gone. your blessings is gone. For what purpose? Think about it. Whereas you were to put $123,000 at JMT. Your blessings. Hey, you cannot accuse me now of being a pussyfoot around it.
마스터.
And can I finish my point, honey? This is important point. Okay, go ahead. I will wait. Ladies first.
마스터 말씀대로 저도 인지하고 있거든요. 마스터께서 저한테 처음에 가르침 주셨던 게 수행하는데 복을 몰아야지 그렇게 세간적인 거 명품, 화장품 뭐 이런 걸로 복을 낭비하지 말라고 하셔서 제가 인지를 해가지고 이제 그 BMW X3를 했는데 제가 그 차값을 드리진 않았지만 저희 차에다가 마서지나 마서가 왔을 때 보산사의 짐을 실어서 이동했기 때문에 잘 활용하고 있다고 생각합니다.
So, Master, I recognize that already because your first teachings was spend my blessings on cultivation, spend all my blessings on cultivation, and don't waste your blessings on luxury stuffs and products, cosmetic.
좋은 거 먹지 말고.
Yes, don't eat good food. Something like that, worldly stuff.
No.
And but even though I didn't give my car money to JMT, I bought BMW X3. But still, with that car, I move around stuff, Joe Mountain Temple stuff. So maybe I'm accruing blessings.
Yes, you are creating blessings. Absolutely. Okay? So let's say you take your XM3 to move a table, move a chair from your apartment to the temple. It's worth about $2 worth. That's very good.
아니요, 마스터.
It has equivalent of make a donation of $2 in kind. Donations of labor, equivalent of labor, okay, worth $2. Of course, it helps. No, let me give you the big picture. Buy an XM3 if it helps create more blessings. Okay? How? Give it to the old abbot.
마스터 노스님이 안 그래도 비 오는 날 제가 모시고 싶었는데 새벽 예불 때 거절을 하셔가지고 그리고 할인 선언에서 마스터께서 법문하셨을 때 마스터가 앉으셨던 의자나 테이블 조명을 BMW X3에 실어서 제가 이동했습니다.
Master, I suggested Master C when it was a rainy day. I asked him to ride on my car to take him to morning ceremony, but he refused.
Yeah.
And also
Because Uber is cheaper. He's trying to save blessings. If you were to give it to him, he would have not said no. Try it. Yes, 6. Now we're opening a new can of worms.
And we really do have a new can of worms here. This is from Dan, a question. Hi, Master. I have a question about lust. What are the consequences of someone who is promiscuous and sleeps around with multiple people? Thank you, Master.
Who? Dan who?
Dan. I don't know.
Okay. It depends on who you are. Okay? Each person's different. And so I don't know this person well enough to answer a hypothetical question. Yeah?
He says he is Australian Daniel.
Okay.
I don't know who that is. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead. In the back.
Can you hear me? Oh, Master, I guess that this is friend of Sophia, Daniel Duan. He usually come into our mantra session.
Okay. I don't know how to answer this question, frankly, because each person is different. It depends on what you're shooting for, what are your purposes out of life. Okay? And so Master YongHua would immediately jump on this and said, you would go to hell, okay, and too much lust and so forth. I don't necessarily agree with that. And yes, in some cases you will, some cases you won't, and so forth. So each person is different, each situation is different. Okay? And so, not that I'm advocating it, okay, but there's no really. I don't subscribe to the one rule where you say that this is so and so. It's different for each case. So, if who am I to tell you what to do with your life? First of all, okay. I don't know you, and just because he participates in the mentor sessions doesn't mean I'm entitled to tell him anything, okay? And so I don't know how to answer this. Is the answer? It depends. If you're my disciple and I know you personally, I know your personal situation, it would be different. For me to give you a hypothetical question, try to answer a hypothetical question, it takes too long. It's too many cases, too many decision trees. It's too complicated. Okay? So I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't help you. All right? And so the point here, we're learning here, is that when you use your blessings for your worldly enjoyment, they're used up. And what Master YongHua is teaching here is when you create these blessings, be careful. Don't create blessings and say, "Oh, I'm helping this person. I'm helping the poor. I'm helping with this philharmonic and so forth." And if you do these good deeds, be careful about for what purpose, what rewards are you seeking. And this is the point number 3 here. Master YongHua says, when you do these meritorious and virtuous acts, make sure you apply them, you hope to use them for transcendental better results. What's the difference? If you look for worldly things, like you get these worldly benefits and you use to buy a car, a house, a yacht, and so forth, it's gone. Okay? You basically are exhausting your blessings. Whereas you use these blessings to cultivate, to build temples, help other people cultivate, okay? Then actually it's an investment into your future versus consumption. Am I making sense to you? Worldly thing is basically consumptions. It helps the economy, it helps the elections and so forth. Okay, help the political system, but still it's consumption. And therefore, they are depleted. When you invest, okay, into cultivation, into spiritual pursuits, okay, that will multiply manifold. It's called investments, and you'll get back many, many times of what you put in. Continue.
切记不要做天主太麻烦，因为这个天主太大，完了共高我慢的，在那个地方竟有一个我。
Remember not to become gods. Being a god is too troublesome because that position is too grand. Pride and arrogance abound in that place, with the concept of self prevalent in that realm.
It's true. When you are in the heavenly realms, you're cool. You feel very special. And you're there because you want to enjoy yourselves. So that's why who's enjoying? The self is enjoying. The self is seeking pleasure. Okay? So therefore, it's worldly. You're caught in this worldly trap. Go forest.
Hi, Master. I have a question circling back to the blessings. I wonder, when we hope for blessings when we do good things, doesn't that diminish somehow the virtue of what we do? I feel like sometimes when we expect things, when we do good, it may rob us of just the pure goodness of what we're doing. Thank you, Master.
We teach you first of the importance of practicing giving. That's what is called in Mahayana the giving paramita. So if you believe in giving, you want to put into execution, we teach how to give properly. And when you give properly, that's how you accomplish is the practice of giving. That's why it's called paramita. You successfully complete or perfect that process. For that process to be perfected, you have to be able to eventually, at first when you give with expectations. You say, okay, I do this because it's more beneficial for me. Instead of investing in stocks, let me invest in temples, okay? Stocks multiply and increase in value, okay? Temples, you will help you increase in blessings. So you invest in stock, you get worldly results, more money, okay? Whereas if you invest in temples, invest in the spiritual pursuit and your cultivation, okay? That multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. All right? So that's what you learn. That's the first you learn, you're taught that so that you can have a better understanding of prioritizing your lives. It should be a balance. For him in particular, should be a balance from before is all about himself, having fun, seeking a sense of accomplishment at work, seeking pleasure after a hard day's work and so forth. Now he goes to the temples on the weekend every now and then and listen to the lecture. That is investing in cultivation. That is multiplying blessings. All right? And eventually you learn, as you cultivate, you learn how to do it better and better until you're able to perfect the act of giving. And when you do that, you have tremendous, tremendous blessings. And you no longer have the pitfalls of that he's describing. At first, yeah, you do have you are not able to perfect the act of giving yet. But contrast yourself with the bodhisattva. The bodhisattvas, when they practice giving, they perfected the giving paramita already. That's why they're bodhisattvas. Okay? And they still continue to perfect it and make it better and better. Versus us, mortals, our act of giving is still not perfected yet. That's the difference. Okay? So it's a learning process. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start by having the understanding and the belief that you're making the right choices. All right? Versus consumption versus investment. Yes, 6.
We have another question from Cordelia. Emitofuo, Master, when we help others accrue blessings through methods like plaques, in our mind, can we ask those blessings to be used for transcendental blessings versus worldly blessings?
Absolutely. In our world, our tiny, tiny world, okay, it's automatic. It's because of our purpose. I don't know about the next generation. You have to ask the abbots and the vice abbots and these people here. I cannot control their minds. Okay, but for me, in my era, all the things here are for one purpose only: is to help you become enlightened. Every single thing. Okay, you give 1 grain of rice. You have 1 grain of rice worth of blessings for you to become enlightened. You give 1 grain of rice on behalf of someone else, okay? That's only one purpose, is for you, for your spiritual path, your spiritual blessings, okay? That's the only ones we generate, all right? And by the way, for those of you who don't understand, worldly blessings are part of spiritual blessings. Think about it. For these people here, to be able to sit there and do nothing, and yet they're able to cultivate and until they become enlightened, not worry about anything, money, food, whatever, clothing, so forth, roof over their head and so forth. That requires worldly blessings, doesn't it? You see? And so that's why that's all included under the umbrella of spiritual blessings. All right? That's what we do. That's what we generate on your behalf. Because it's about who you make offerings to. You make an offering to this temple, they are dependent on what their aspirations. If they want, to become famous and spread Buddhism and so forth, those are the blessings that you will accrue. For us, okay? It includes all of those that's in the process of becoming enlightened. Big picture, folks. That's what I was referring to. We're doing this with the big picture in mind. Everything we do is towards this big picture. Yes, DTT.
맞서 복에 대해서 질문이 있는데요. 예를 들면 이제 어떤 음식물을 가지고 사찰에 왔는데 그게 꼭 사가지고 온 음식물이 마스터나 뭐 노스님이나 마스터지가 드셔야 그게 복이 되는 건지 아니면 그냥 절에 가지고 왔다는 그 자체로 복이 되는 건지 그것을 질문드립니다.
I have a question about the blessings.
We will accept your XM3. If Master or Abbot refuses, I will consider it. Is that what you're asking?
달라고 하시면 드려야죠. 밖에
If you ask, I will give you.
Look at that. Who's in charge? Go ahead, translation.
So her question is about the blessings when she or any other people.
That car breaks down from her apartment to GMT, right? Have to think. Careful, guys. Sorry, go ahead.
When we bring food to the temple, do we accrue blessing only when master or masters eats, or is it we accrue blessings just by bringing food to temple?
Anything that's under me, whether it's whatever, everything we do, okay, in my organization is for the sole purpose of the big picture for you. That's it. That's why I'm doing this. Okay?
그러니까 절에 다니면서
You don't have to pick and choose.
그러니까
Give one grain of rice, it's towards that. You help carry a chair, it's towards that too.
그러니까 절에서 조금 이렇게 번뇌로운 일들이 생기는 것 중에 하나가 뭐 예를 들면은 마서지한테 A라는 사람이 사과를 드렸는데 B라는 사람이 그 사과를 보고 A가 오퍼링한 사과를 자기가 내리고 자기가 올린 사과를 올리는 경우가 있거든요. 일단 여기까지 한번 끊을게요.
So many afflictions arise in the temple because, for instance, we offer let's say an apple to Master Z. So person A offers apple to Master Z, and person B, a person comes and replace those apples with her or his apple.
근데 이제 이런 경우에 보통 이제 어떻게 마음을 관리했냐면 복은 안 됐지만 업장은 소멸하지 않았을까 이렇게 마음을 다스렸는데 말씀하신 대로라면 그냥 절에 갖다 놓으면 되겠네요. 감사합니다.
So in this case, I thought, I couldn't accrue blessings, but maybe my karmic obstructions are reduced a little bit. But as I listen to you, it's just, it's okay because I brought apple to temple, right?
Yeah, right. Did your car break down so far this year? Has it broken down yet? Never mind, okay. Let's not go there. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night.